Well, g'day, curd nerds. Every week during my live stream, people send me in photos to comment on and to show in what I call the cheese gallery. Now, I react to these photographs in many forms, mostly in the positive, but let me take you on a little bit of a journey. Here's a whole bunch of photos of cheese that you sent in to me, not the cheese physically, but the photos, and I react to them. So enjoy this episode of Gavin Reacts to Your Cheese. All right, so this very first picture is from Michael and Jenny, and they did some halloumi. Now, I've got a little bit of a spiel here somewhere. Where is it? It says, "Hi, Gavin. Jenny made some halloumi with unhomogenized 4.8% fat, 4.8% fat milk. It's very squeaky." So let's have a look. There's the process of them squeezing between boards. There's the halloumi as it's just been salted. And yeah, it's been salted and it's got, looks like mint, chopped mint, I think. And there it is all fried up. Yeah, fresh halloumi is indeed very, very squeaky. And it's lovely. Oh, it's just amazing. I just love it so much. So halloumi is one of those amazing, very simple, can be made and eaten in the same day. So yeah, that's all very cool. So I love halloumi. All right. The next picture, this is from, oh, it's sideways. Can I rotate that? Whoop, there we go. At least technology works sometimes. This is from Logan. Logan says, this is what my wheel of cheese looks like after 5 days air drying, I think. Says, I'm absolutely to oil it and wrap it today. The lines are from the rack, and it's sat on, and there are some green specks of mold. Is that okay? Yes, I would just use a simple brine solution and just quickly get rid of that mold before you vacuum pack it. And yeah, it should be all good to go, Logan. All righty. Thank you for sending that in. The next picture is from, where is it? This is from Molly. So Molly says, greetings from Pennsylvania, USA. Here's a picture of my Guido's hard Italian cheese I just opened. I waxed it after 2 weeks of air drying due to black spots appearing on the surface that did not wash off with simple brine washings. I assume the pink discoloration on the cheese is colouring leaking out of my cheese wax. Yes, it is. So that mustn't be very good quality cheese wax, Molly. It shouldn't really leach the colour into the cheese, but the cheese looks great. Absolutely looks fantastic. So as for the cheese itself, it tastes great after a total of 4 weeks of aging. Nice, light, and buttery. One thing I've noticed with all the cheeses that I've made, that I cannot fry it into Frico. What the heck is Frico? If anybody in the chat can enlighten me what Frico is, without me having to go and do a Google search, that would be great. Said, I've attached a couple of pics of me frying a chunk of store-bought Colby and a piece of the Guidos that I just opened. As you can see, I got Frico from the store-bought cheese, but my homemade cheese does not fry down right. I can grate it into a bechamel to make cheese sauce. Right, hang on, next picture then. Right, so that's melted cheese. That looks exactly like any cheese should be. Okay. Frico is, somebody said here, is a dish of Friulian peasant tradition made of potatoes, onions, and lots of cheese. Okay. Thank you, H7 Apollo. All right. So, yeah. So what's happening there is the top picture. I hope you can see me pointer. That's what cheese is supposed to do. Any cheese that has good meltability. You cannot fry it like halloumi. Halloumi's gone through a process of heat treating the curds, and that doesn't, you can't fry it. The Colby down below here, that should just totally melt, you know. So that's the store-bought one, I'm assuming. Let's have a look at another picture. Is there another picture? Yeah, there we go. So that one there, that looks like halloumi to me. That should have, if that was, says there's store-bought, that was store-bought Colby. Colby Jack. Right. So the Colby Jack looks like it must be processed or something. Says I can grill it, but the cheese is not, it works, although the cheese is not very runny and stringy. What am I doing wrong? Hang on. Let me get this right. Which one is which? Says the Colby Jack, the top one. But my homemade cheese did not fry down right. I can't understand it. What am I doing wrong? Right. So if that's your cheese, the one down the bottom, then there's not enough protein in the cheese to make it melt. The top one, if that's the one that you bought, then that's what's supposed to happen. Your cheese, yeah, it doesn't have enough protein, and it looks like you may have used too much rennet, so that will hold the curds together and that won't melt properly. Anyway, there we go. I think we've solved the problem. But thank you, Molly, for sending in your photo. Okay, the next one is, and final one, I think, is, oh no, there might be another one. This one's from Nolan. Thank you, Nolan. Let me have a look. What is it? Nolan says, here's a picture of a 4-week-old ghost pepper Asiago using a mold from your store. Shout out to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Thank you, Nolan. Tastes great. Curds knitted together very well. Only critiques are that it needs more salt and it's a little bit on the rubbery side. Thank you, a.k.a. Fun Pants 94. There we go, curd nerds. So when you see Fun Pants, it's really Nolan. Okay. So yeah, ghost pepper, I bet that tastes really nice though. So needed a little bit more salt. Okay. And on the rubbery side. Yeah. The curds look a little bit too dry. They're not too acidic because they would crumble. Yeah, look, I think it looks great anyway. It probably tastes fantastic. Thank you, Nolan, for sending that in. Do I have any more? I think Ruth snuck in one. Oh, here we go. So Ruth did sneak one in there. There's not much of a description. So this is about 2 minutes before the show started. So this is Ruth's Morbier, and it looks fantastic. I know she's using a, I think that's the Manchego mold she's got her hands on. There's the inside line there. That looks pretty good. That the drag mark just here is from where she cut through the cheese. But she's got a fairly good line going on there. So that's well done. And it looks fantastic, Ruth. And I think you did a little label as well. Let's have a look. Morbier, cultured with love. I'm not sure what the flag symbolizes. You may have sent that in a separate email, so I'm not too sure. But it looks great. I love your labels anyway, regardless. But yeah, great looking cheese. Doesn't that look fantastic, curd nerds? And I like the whiteness of the paste as well. So really good. That's fantastic. Well done, Ruth. So this is from Brendan. And Brendan's a long-time viewer and follower of the All Things Cheesy. So this is his red Windsor. And he cut it open and it looked visually stunning like mine did. So that's good. Good so far. But you can see there are some minor fissures. Can I zoom in? Will it let me? There we go. You can see that there are cracks in between, and that's evident more so in the next photo here, that it is a little bit crumbly. Now, I'll just read the explanation. Yeah, here we go. It says, Gavin, like your cheese, my version ended up being somewhat brittle when cut and breaks apart when eaten. I too had a lot of trouble getting it to knit together when pressed, and it started to crack whilst air drying. I reckon mine could have had a little bit more salt. The flavour is a little flat. Salt may help to enhance the flavour. It certainly smelled nice, and the overall taste I would characterise as acceptable and pleasant. A shorter soak in the port, more salt, and longer aging would probably produce an even nicer cheese. Visually, the cheese is nothing short of spectacular, and it is extraordinarily photogenic. Ingredients-wise, this was a very expensive cheese. I spent a little over on $70 on ingredients. And yeah, I know why. For the last 6 months or more, getting reasonably priced, unhomogenized milk around here has been damn near impossible. The only available option is to use made by a cow, which is cold pressed milk. My usual supply of reasonably priced milk has been temporarily discontinued due to low milk supply. Producers are opting to direct what little milk they are getting into standardized, homogenized products in both full cream, light, and skim formats. Just over $7 for 1.5 litres. The total cost for my made by cow milk alone came to $33. The port was $40. I used the same port you did, which was fantastic, by the way. I usually use Woolworths branded Parmesan unhomogenized, which is priced at $3.15 for 2 litres. Haven't been able to get that milk for a while, which is putting the brakes on a lot of my cheese making. Anyway, here are the photos of my baby, which we've just shown. So, yeah, I've had a conversation with Brendan off stream, and yeah, he doesn't blame anybody. He just says it was a great tasting cheese, and lots of people that he has given it to says it's very good. So yeah, so that was cool. All right, moving right along. This photo is from Habib, and Habib's from Lebanon, and says, "Dear Gavin, I want to share some with you the photos of 2 of my cheeses I recently opened. The first one is a traditional cheddar that was vac packed right after air drying 2 days after being out of the press. I noticed that that during the aging, the vacuum packed bag would loosen up and gas would accumulate in the bag. So I was afraid of late blowing. Now at 11 months old, I decided to open it at last, and you may see there were some horizontal cracks. Could they be late blowing? Is it safe to eat? The flavour was very mild and I expected more tanginess. I noticed a slight bitterness at the back of the palate, which could be due to low salt content, although I salted the curds correctly and a little bit more." So this is the cheddar. And looking at the bag, I've seen worse. As far as bags puffing up, I've seen them like a full balloon. So this is nothing. This is fine, Habib. And as you can see there, can I zoom in a little bit? Can I get it? I think they're mechanical defects. Doesn't look like late blowing. Late blowing, you get this massive, can you see the cursor? A massive big fissure right down the center. This looks fine. And by the way, late blown cheese is edible. So don't be scared. You can eat late blown cheese. There's no problems with that. It's only a defect in the cheese. It doesn't cause the cheese to taste bad. Early blowing is what you should really be worried about, which is early blowing cheese is when within the first few hours of putting the cheese in the press or in brine or what have you, even sometimes during coagulation, you'll see all these tiny little bubbles. It looks like a sponge. That's called coliform bacteria, and that's bad. Don't eat that, whatever you do. Late blown, not so bad. It'll just be a visual problem. And a lot of cheesemakers, they throw the late blown cheese out, or they grate it, or they put it in other products. They sell it to manufacturers that put things in other products. So it looks fine to me, Habib. It looks really good. Anyway, moving right along. So the second one, this one here, is a saffron infused with black peppercorns that smelled and tasted amazing as usual using your exact recipe. It was a bit more than 6 months old. The smell, taste, and texture were divine. Cheese and best regards, Habib. Thank you, Habib. Yep, on the surface, that looks really good. So there it is there. Oh, here we are. Some good high-def photos today, so that's really good. So you can see a little bit of saffron there, which is great, and some black peppercorns. Mine had a lot more. I think I went overboard with the black pepper corns, but this looks really nice. So well done, Habib. Thank you very much for sending those photos in to me. Okay, so the next one, this is from Michael and Jenny, and I think Michael's in the chat still. So this is, let me just have a look. There's a blurb here somewhere. Michael and Jenny says, "Hi, Gavin. Jenny and I made Asiago cheese infused with truffles, which is now in the ripening box. I was able to pick up the truffles from my local market." And I think truffle season is just finished here in Australia, as in get the fresh truffles. Very expensive. And I made a mead-washed Alpine cheese, which is now drying. I picked up some spiced mead from my local winery. Fantastic. So you're going to make like this one here is going to be the mead spiced one, and this one here is going to be the truffle one. So they should age out. I love your press. That's a bit of the it looks like the same sort of design as the compound lever press that I've got. All right, now he sent one this morning very early. This says, "Hi, Gavin. Jenny was checking the Jarlsberg and noticed that the wax had split." Yep, perfectly normal. Time to patch it up. It's been sitting in the office at 18 degrees, waxed on the 7th of August. You know, that sounds about right. And in the next photo, so this is very common, by the way. Anybody who makes, say, Jarlsberg or Leerdama, any of those cheeses that sit at about 16 to 18 degrees to develop the eyes after an initial cool period of about 7 days, you put it at a higher temperature, and the propionic Shimani, you know, makes all the eyes in the cheese, which is fantastic. I love cheese making. So much science. Anyway, so what he did, basically, just waxed over it. Perfect. If there's no infection underneath the wax, and you can see that. Let me just go back one. You can see that there. No infection, no molds or anything like that. It's very safe to just dip it in wax and then seal it up again. So well done, Jenny and Michael. So thank you so much for sending those photos in. The next one is from Neil. And does Neil have a blurb? Yeah, he does. Here he goes. "Hi, Gavin. A few months ago, you answered my panicked email about curds for my red Leicester in episode 212. Yeah, that's a while back. After your help, I waxed and aged it, and we finally opened it last weekend. It turned out great. It's definitely my most successful cheese so far. I think it has the taste and texture of mild cheddar." Yeah, about right. Yep. "We vacuumed 3/4 of it for more aging, and I can't wait to try it in a few months. Thanks for all your help, Neil." So this is Neil's red Leicester. And there it is there. A much better, yeah, the colour's a little bit off, I think, on that. So there it's a bit deeper red. So that's nice. Lovely. The mechanical holes, perfect for a cheddar. You get that in most cheddars because it's very hard to press the cheese so much. The 50 pounds of pressure that I get with my spring press is just enough to close up a cheddar. But if I was going to make a larger cheddar with a larger mold, I would definitely have to use the compound press to do that. Anyway, well done, Neil. Thank you so much for sending those photos in. The next one is Ruth. And Ruth has sent in lots of photos today. Can I just get rid of that bit? Yeah, there we go. So this is her Jarlsberg that she's made. Looks like it's made in a Manchego mold. But that she's attention to detail of cleaning the cheese, the rind on the outside of the cheese, is fantastic. I remember, Ruth, you were telling me in the that you've got like 7 cheese fridges or something now, and you have a daily routine, and this seems to be paying off for you. The cheeses that you sent in lately are just absolutely fantastic. So well done, Ruth. So 2.6 kilos, that's massive. So that's excellent. And there's a little label. Can I make that bigger? Here we go. It says Jarlsberg cultured with love. Very nice. I like that. That's very cute. All right. And here's the result in the middle. Look at those eyes. Aren't they magnificent? Well done, Ruth. That looks fantastic. I can taste it now. Jarlsberg is just one of those cheeses that you remember when you first taste it, that nutty flavor, that nuttiness, the eyes. It's just a wonderful cheese to make and to eat. So well done, Ruth. I love it. Well done. I think you got some more. Right, so you do. Here's another cheese label that you've made. World Peace Cheddar, made on Christmas Day 2021. Cultured with love. And let's have a look. There it is. Look at that. I love the way you've combined. So this is based, I think, on my marbled cheddar recipe. So yeah, it's it looks like, I think we called it originally Planet Cheese or something like that. So yeah, no, well done, Ruth. That's an amazing looking cheese. Yeah, and I bet that one tastes amazing as well. And I love the way that your cheeses are becoming larger and larger. So that's just amazing. So well done. Right, so thank you, Ruth, for sending those in. Absolutely fantastic. The next one is from Shauna. And Shauna's down in Tasmania. I don't know if she's in the chat. I haven't seen her today. Usually she's on Facebook, so I haven't seen anything yet. So this is Shauna's take on Red Windsor. I'll just read the note. It says, "Hey, Gavin, just thought I'd give you an update on my first Red Windsor made with the farmhouse cheddar recipe. Just opened it. It's very, very dry and crumbly. Damn shame. It looks so good. The second one is in the press using your stout cheddar recipe, which was successful for me. I will warn you that the curds did not knit together when they were pressed at 10 kilos for over an hour. So up to 20 kilos for the next hour. We'll let you know how it goes." So this is Shauna's first attempt. As expected, we had the same sort of dealio with the small curds kind of not knitting together. And yeah, I think, as I mentioned in the Red Windsor video, the cheese was a little bit dry. Anyway, so Shauna had a crack at something different. So she's used the stout cheddar recipe and substituted the stout for port or port wine. Yeah. So this looks really good, and it has knitted together. It certainly doesn't look as crumbly as the farmhouse cheddar recipe, where the curds are a lot smaller. And she's got a note here on this second. So the second Red Windsor made with the stout cheddar recipe. The only difference was that I kept the curds and port at 38 degrees Celsius during the soaking. That's good, because that definitely helps. Helps with the absorption of the alcohol and the flavor from the port into the curds as well, and keeps the curds more malleable when you go to press it. It says here that she had a bit of trouble getting the curds to knit together, but it smells divine. Thank you, Shauna. You're most welcome, and well done on using the stout cheddar recipe to try and get a Red Windsor style sort of cheese. Look, I swear that when they make Red Windsor in the UK, the ones that I've seen, they add red food dye. Maybe that may not be the case, but it certainly looks like it to me. I would love to see a video on the process they use to do that. Anyway, I think that is all from the gallery today, and it is, yeah, lovely. This is from Cheryl, and Cheryl's watching. So she made this in the 19th of, September 2021. It says, "Hi, Gavin. I waited as long as I could before cutting into my Parmesan cheese I made almost a year ago. So I'm looking forward to dinner. You are my inspiration, Cheryl Goulding." Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. I really appreciate it. And that's a wonderful cheese. Looks like it grates just perfectly. Look at that. Can we get any closer? Let's have a look before. It's going to be a bit blurry. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, nice. You can see the rind's really good, and that just looks fantastic. So the next one, this one is from Habib, and Habib says he can't usually make it. So it says here, "Dear Gavin, thank you for your last episode's comments on my cheddar and saffron infused cheese. I'm struggling to be online when your live stream starts, but it would be about 1 a.m. my time zone, so it's not always easy after a long day work." Habib's from Lebanon, by the way, for those who don't know. Today I'm sharing my olive oil sweet and hot paprika rubbed Gouda cheese. Actually, I kept rubbing it for almost a month in a ripening box, and when mold started growing on it, I vacuum packed it. With time and inside the vacuum pack, the deep brown colour from the paprika rub has faded away. As you may see, the colour of the rind is almost completely free from paprika colour, albeit a few patches. All right, let's have a look at that one. So that's in the vac pack. Yeah, it did fade a fair bit, and there's a little bit of moisture come out too, as you can see. But nice healthy weight, so 2.2 kilos. It's pretty good. It says, now, the smell was great, and the taste was also with complexity from age. The paste was more dry than I expected and a bit crumbly. All right, hang on, let's have the next photo. There we go. It's not too bad. It says paste was, yeah, crumbly. Maybe it was because of the age or the press weight. And frankly, no added flavour from the paprika, except very slightly for the bite close to the rinds. Cheese, and best regards, Habib. Thank you, Habib, for sending that in. So yeah, it looks like, and can I go back one? Here we are. So you can see that there's a bit of whey that's come out. So maybe you should have just kept it as a natural rind, Habib. That probably would have been a better solution. And let the rind dry a little bit more. So yeah, I think that probably would have worked a little bit better than vacuum packing. Alrighty. So the next one, this is from Jim, and I think Jim's there somewhere too, mate. Jim says, I have a Budakaiser from Cheese 52 recipe. Oh, that's Lisa, yep. I think it's late blown. Think? Yeah, that's late blown, all right. I had it vacuum bagged, and it had expanded as far as it could. That poor bag. When I made the cheese, I separated the curds into a small mould and a large mould. The small cheese did not expand. It was a very nice flavour with a texture of mould Colby. We ate it before the larger cheese expanded. I can detect a slight difference in flavour of the larger cheese. It has a slightly metallic flavour in comparison. Yeah, maybe a little bit of LPRA would have helped there, or Holbach LC, or even Lysolac. Budakaiser, those styles of cheeses, Budakaiser, Havarti, Gouda, Edam, sometimes even Leerdama, those styles of cheese is very soft paste, and they are susceptible to late blowing. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. Probably tells me that it was probably ready a lot earlier. So I notice you got 2 months there on your can you see the pointer right there? So you've got, so what's the 5th of the 7th, and then 2 months later. I'm pretty sure that Budakaiser, I'm not sure, look, I might be wrong, but Budakaiser is only a 6-week cheese, probably for this reason. So yeah, maybe a bit, like I said, a bit of Lysolac or any of those two protective cultures may have stopped the butyric acid from forming and causing that CO2 gas. Usually late blown cheeses are edible, so there's no infection or anything like that. So it's just the gas production, which is a bit of a problem. But anyway, on to Jim's cheese board. He's got and he's made all these himself, which is fantastic. So he's got onto the cheese tray photo. I had my first Gruyere, and the flavour is really spot on. Oh, that's an alarm for the for the gallery, but we're into it. It says the flavour is really spot on, and the texture as well. I'll be making again for sure. Okay, cool. And that's that one there. It looks fantastic. The Leerdama is a staple with me now. This one has smaller eyes, and it was less nuttier than previous Leerdamas, but quite nice, which is that one there and all those little slices. Very nice. And the next one is the Gouda is my first attempt, and it came out very nice. Notice the red wax stain I got, which is a little bit of red there, but that's just cosmetic. It's all good. It says Cotswold is my first attempt, and I plan on making it often. It is soft and a little crumbly, but cuts well and has a good bend as well. I added everything bagel seasoning, and I love the flavours. Just shake in the amount you think you need, and then shake a little more. Oh, okay, cool. Seasoning, everything bagel seasoning. Right, cool. So they must have garlic and onion and chives and all that sort of stuff that you normally would put into, say, a Cotswold. It says, all the cheeses on the tray are from your recipes and made over several weekends. All were made with raw milk except the Budakaiser. I had the opportunity to have 2 different groups of friends enjoy them. Regards, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, mate. Lovely, and that's fantastic sending that into the gallery. Lovely. Okay, the next photo, this one is from John, and I don't know if John's watching, but John says, hi Gavin, help. This is a Cotswold I have just cut. Why is it full of mould? What have I done wrong? Should I give it to the chooks, which is chickens, in Australian? Would it kill me? Appreciate your help. Regards, John. Well, John, and I've previously answered John's email already. This is, you can see, it's got some surface cracks. So what's happened, it's been infected by Penicillium roqueforti, and it definitely does look like that. And because of the loose texture of the Cotswold that you made, it has got into all the cracks and fissures and made an amazing blue cheese by the looks of it. John did taste it and he told me it was pretty good. So, yeah, it's a good looking cheese. I reckon you've done a good job there. Bit of a serendipitous event, really. So, yeah, blue cheese Cotswold. Never thought of making that. I think the flavours would go together quite well. So the flavours of the onion and the garlic and the chives as well as the blue cheese. That looks really cool. I like it a lot. Alrighty. Time for a sip of the coffee. Right. Karen has sent in... Alright, so this is Karen's Gorgonzola Dolce. It says, I made this on July 28th. The blue mold growth progressed really nicely and it looks like it's doing very well. I'm concerned that the blue has turned to grey. It does have some lovely blue on the inside and has an amazing taste. I would like to age it for another 30 days. Do you leave it as is until it's ready? Now, she knows that there's blue growth on the inside because she's used her cheese trier. Looks very cool. So she's got some blue mold growth there. Probably not so much there. The paste doesn't look as crumbly here, but certainly in the centre. So look, my advice to Karen was that if you wanted to age it longer, then you can definitely just wrap it in aluminium foil and then put it back into the ripening box and then into the fridge, and it'll go a little bit the paste will go smoother, and you might get some more blue cheese development. But looking at the core sample there on the cheese tray, there's no cracks and fissures in this outer part of the cheese. Now that blue mold does, as it dries out, it goes grey. That's the way it is. So it's no big deal. Like I said, wrap it in aluminium foil and then go for it if you want to age it for more time. However, it looks pretty good now. I'd eat it personally. It's got your blue vein. The flavour's probably there, so I would eat it right now. It'd probably be perfect. Okay, so Karen's got, I think, some more. Here we go. It says here, hi Gavin, while I was watching your live stream yesterday, I was making a new cheese. I wanted a Tuscan-style cheese that I could soak in red wine before aging. I used Toscano Pepato recipe without the peppers. The final pressing was at 25 pounds, which is about 12 kilos, for 6 hours, keeping the curds at 90 Fahrenheit, which is 33 degrees Celsius. Anyway, it says, which was a challenge. I managed to get pretty close, but only by putting it outside. The following step was resting in the basket overnight at room temperature. It looked great in the morning, went into the 23% brine for 8 hours. Then I took it out of the brine, the edge swelled, and it looked quite a bit to give a bit. And when I checked it to see if the paste was still firm, a bit squishy feeling, thinking it might be early blown, so I cut it in half. Does this look like mechanical holes or early blowing? Let's have a look. No, they're just mechanical holes. That's not early blown at all. Says, does brine normally cause swelling? Sometimes it does. The brine soaks into the cheese and it slightly swirls. Says, it doesn't have an off smell, but I have little sense of smell. Grateful if you could suggest whether it can be saved. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and passion. It's contagious. Kind regards, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Or Karen. Sorry, Karen. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There you go. There's another picture of it there. Just vac pack it now or wax it and pop it into the cheese fridge and let it age. And I think it'll be good to go. You'll get some good flavour out of that, I reckon. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Karen, for sending that in. The next one is from Michael and Jenny. Ooh, look at that. It says, Gavin, I decided to cut open my Jarlsberg as the wax kept splitting. Slightly nutty, mild taste, nice aroma. Very happy with our first wax cheese, Michael and Jenny. A great eye development there. Looks really good. The Propionic Shamani really did its work there, didn't it? And you got some nice shiny eyes in there, so good indications that it was working perfectly. And there it is, out of the wax. There's no wax staining, but that looks exactly what a Jarlsberg or those Swiss-style cheeses are supposed to look like, even though Jarlsberg is Norwegian, but, doesn't matter. But it looks fantastic, and as long as the flavour was there, that nutty flavour is just perfect. So, well done, Michael and Jenny. Perfect, thank you very much. Ruth has sent in, and she's made it. Goodness me. So this is her Parmesan. Says, hi Gavin, following your excellent and admirable example, I am sharing my failure. Indeed, as you should, Ruth. Everybody should share a failure because people learn from those things. It says, for all the curd nerds who have shared, I'll start again. I'm sharing my failure for all the curd nerds who have shared my successes and for you to answer the question of what went wrong in next week's chat. I will formulate a coherent question by then. Meanwhile, we have a big batch of Parmesan-style curd. You could do worse, and the dog loves it. That's excellent. Ruth, they look too dry. That's all it is, really. So, yeah, look, maybe ease off. It could have been the milk, seasonal milk as well. I would think that then that this batch, as you were... it says, might have been too dry, so that's why they didn't knit together. Best to do that, that check when you grab the curds, and if they fall apart, if they hold together, and then when you let them go and then you press them with your thumb and they fall apart, they're ready. If you've overcooked the curds, then they will tend to just crumble and won't form together. So you'll know. Just test that as you're going along. I know stirring, it's a lot of stirring there, so that's probably what happened. Anyway, moving right along. This is from Shauna. Shauna sent this in. It's not cheese, but it's a cheese picture. It's a poster. It says, hi, Gavin and Kim. Not really my cheese, but I thought I would show you the birthday gift I received from my wonderful husband. Regards, Shauna. So, can I make it a little bit bigger? So... this is a poster she's got. She's proudly hung it on her wall. She's got a whole bunch of cheeses here. She reckons she's going to make them all. She's made quite a few. There's only about 4 that she hasn't made so far. So, I love the way down the bottom here. It says, I don't know if you can see that, it says cheddar loaf. So, a loaf of cheddar. Maybe that's the technical term for it. I love the way the Gruyère's actually got a lot of eyes in it. So, Maybe I've been doing Gruyere wrong all these years. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, great looking poster. It's very cool. I've actually got some prints in here that you can't see. They're on the walls behind the camera that are similar. They just look like stock images put on canvas. So, nice cheeses. Anyway, fantastic. Great gift. Thanks for sharing that, Shauna. Now... what's this? This is from Tim. And let me just make this a bit bigger. AKA the Hammerhead Chef online there. It says, hi Gavin, we chatted in the past and I sent a few pics a while back. I just want to know that the Gorgonzola recipe I used from you was phenomenal. I made it back in March and just opened it, 6 months old. It had a bit of whey or greenish black liquid in the vac pack bag, but I dried it off and let it sit there about 10 minutes. I cut it into 4 wedges. It was so, which is about 8 ounces each. It was so good, I can't believe it. It's the best cheese that I've ever made, and I've been very productive this year so far. It was even a little sweet. I had it with apples and fresh baguette. Anyway, the cease and desist recipe you have on YouTube is perfect as well. Thanks again, Tim. Thank you, Tim, for sending that in. There's another shot there. Let's have a look. There we go. A little bit. I'll make it a bit bigger. It's just another angle of that beautiful. I like the addition of the raspberries. That's very cool. But that looks amazing, that Gorgonzola. And if it tastes as good as you're saying there, Tim, that's absolutely fantastic. Thanks for sending that in. So the next one is, this is just a picture sent in by Tori Zimmerman, and he said he's made his first cheddar, and he's a very proud man. You can see that. Look at that beautiful cheddar down there. Can we zoom in on the cheddar? Can I get? Let's have a look. Yep, absolutely perfect. A few mechanical holes, but that's normal for home cheese makers. But good on you, Tori. Good looking bloke. Well done. Thanks for sending that photo in. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then let me know in the comments, because then I can put together some more. I have literally thousands of photographs of people's cheese that they've sent in to me during the Ask the Cheeseman live stream that you can watch if you want on Wednesdays and Sundays. Well, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.